Essays on Untouchables and Untouchability Religious by Babasaheb Ambedkar. Chapter 3, Part 3 M. This favorable picture, though not devoid of a faint resemblance, betrays by its dark coloring and distorted features the pencil of an enemy. As the humble faith of Christ diffused itself throughout the world, it was embraced by several persons who derived some consequences from the advantages of nature or fortune. Aristides, who presented an eloquent apology to the Emperor Hadrian, was an Athenian philosopher. Justin Martyr had sought divine knowledge into the schools of Zeno or Aristotle, of Pythagoras, and of Plato before he fortunately was accosted by the old men, or rather the angel, who turned his attention to the study of the Jesuit prophets. Clemens of Alexandria had acquired much various reading in the Greek and Tertullian in the Latin language. Julius Africanus and Origen possessed a very considerable share of the learning of their times, and although the style of Cyprian is very different from that of Lactantius, we might almost discover that both these writers have been public teachers of rhetoric. Even the study of philosophy was at length introduced among the Christians, but it was not always productive of the most salutary effects. Knowledge was as often the present parent of heresy as of devotion, and the description which was designed for the followers of Artemon may, with equal propriety, be applied to the various sects that resisted the successors of the apostles. They presumed to alter the Holy Scriptures, to abandon the ancient rule of faith, and to form their opinion according to the subtile precepts of logic. The science of the church is neglected for the study of geometry, and they lose sight of heaven while they are employed in measuring the earth. Euclid is perpetually in their hands. Aristotle and Theophrastus are the objects of their admiration, and they express an uncommon reverence for the works of Galen. Their errors are derived from the abuse of the arts and sciences of the infidels, and they corrupt the simplicity of the gospel by the refinements of human reason. Nor can it be affirmed with truth that the advantages of birth and fortune were always separated from the profession of Christianity. Several Roman citizens were brought before the tribunal of Pliny, and he soon discovered that a great number of persons of every order of men in Bithynia had deserted the religion of their ancestors. His unsuspected testimony may, in this instant, obtain more credit than the bold challenge of Tertullian, when he addresses himself to the fears as well as to the humanity of the proconsul of Africa, by assuming him that if he persists in his cruel intentions, he must decimate Carthage, and that he will find among the guilty many persons of his own rank, senators and matrons of noblest extraction, and the friends or relations of his most intimate friends. It appears, however, that about 40 years afterward the Emperor Valerian was persuaded of the truth of this assertion, since in one of his rescripts he evidently presupposes that senators, Roman knights, and ladies of quality were engaged in the Christian sect. The church still continued to increase its outward splendor as it lost its internal purity, and in the reign of Diocletian, the palace, the courts of justice, and even the army concealed a multitude of Christians who endeavored to reconcile the interests of the present with those of a future life. The end.